Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Steve Apicella is making his mark on the automotive retail industry at Strategic DX, your dealer experience. Steve, I see you everywhere. Your message is resonating. That customer journey is now part of the conversation everywhere I go in the industry. Congratulations to you. And Steve, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Boy, it's so good to be here. And, the Wild West theme, you're talking to the right guy from Colorado. Woo. There we go. I didn't have to go to the store to buy that one. That's in the closet, ready to rock. It's great to be here. And, Ted, I love what you're doing, casting a spotlight on fixed ops, because this is such an important part of the value proposition for the brick and mortar dealer. And it's something, the reason why I've gravitated to you and why so many other people have is when our industry faces maybe its greatest challenge ever with all of the transformations that are occurring, the vehicles themselves are transforming. And, the landscape of competitors is transforming too. And when people talk about the challenge from the 100% online retailers, it's a real challenge, and the prospect is somebody like in the future, there's formidable foes now with Tesla and others. But imagine when Apple or Amazon is in the game. That's going to change it forever. And I believe right now, the brick and mortar dealers that have been there for a long time will continue to be there for a long time as long as they leverage their unique attribute. And their unique attribute isn't catching up to the 100% online retailers. That's not the mission. It's to surpass them with these unique attributes of being able to locally service their customers better than anybody. Think about it. The 100% only online retailers for now are just selling cars. And we have to be careful as an industry too, that the perception is that we're not just doing the same thing. And the challenge that exists, it's been a challenge for the long time. And I want to underscore this by prefacing it with, I love this industry. I think we're doing a lot of things right. I am not the guy, even though I'm a digital contributor, I'm not the guy that says everything's broken. I don't believe that. There's a lot of things going well. But there is one architectural problem that is creating strain in that unique attribute, which is every dealership treats sales and service like two separate companies under one dealer roof. And the challenge with that from the customer's perspective is once the car sales process is done, it feels to the customer like the transaction and therefore the relationship has concluded. A lot of things lead up to that, even with advancements like digital retailing, which I'm an advocate for. We do digital retailing in a post-sale sense. I don't do it in a pre-sale sense, but I'm an advocate for it because I don't think it means shut the dealer's doors. It just means simply casting a wider net to capture more customers, the ones that desire to engage digitally. And obviously that's an important topic today. For the first time last year in 2022, the millennials surpassed the baby boomers in buying cars. Wow. And, the millennials aren't coming. They're here. And guess what? Gen Z is here too. Yeah. And for those that don't know what the next generation after Gen Z is called, get it in your vernacular. It's Generation A. Follows Gen Z. We just go back through the alphabet again. But when you take a look at what motivates a millennial, our number one audience right now, what even motivates a baby boomer who today they're all on their smartphones? It's not just a Gen Z or a millennial topic. You have to take a look at these things. And even with digital retailing, which is a positive advancement, in my opinion, to supplement the in-person experience, not to replace it, The associated digital experience with digital retailing abruptly ends with the sale of the vehicle. What does that tell a customer that even engaged digitally? It further substantiates that the transaction and therefore the relationship is over. So although we have great operators in our industry, in both sales and fixed ops and running the dealerships, we can keep refining the hell out of the fixed ops process, and we should. And we can keep refining the sales process, and we should. But because of this architecture, until we fill the gap in between sales and service, we're going to continue to get what we currently get, which is mass customer defection. And that's not okay. You take a look at, and again, our industry sometimes doesn't like to use this as a comparison, which is Amazon. And Amazon feels like it's in the cloud thing. And Steve, this is not us. It's more like the 100% online retailers. And that's not true. Amazon is chock full of brick and mortar and people to deliver its products and services. What they have intelligently done, though, is figured out the desired engagement pathway. And here's their secret sauce. The desired engagement pathway before and after the sale that keeps their customers coming back again and again and again and again. The recurring customer is what makes Amazon a $1 trillion plus value company. Anybody watching this right now can be self-reflective. How many people have purchased something from Amazon just once? How many people have an Amazon box on their doorstep once a week or once a day?
More like a couple a day.
If Amazon didn't have the recurring customer, they would not be the $1 trillion retailing titan that we know. And this is where our industry has a blueprint on what that means. My wife, last year before the holidays, I'm on the road all the time, Ted, and I'm running a company that's growing. And, anything I can do to contribute at home, I certainly do, because my wife carries the load big time, right? So on the way out the door on a Monday morning, on the way to the airport, I'm like, hey, is there anything I can do for you before I take off? And she's like, you know what? Actually, I have an Amazon return. I would love if you could take that to the UPS store and get it returned for me. I'm like, you know what? There's like 4 UPS stores on the way to the airport. Happy to do it. So she walks over to her office and she comes with a handful of loose products and hands them to me. And she said, take these back. And I thought she was kidding me. I'm like, those have to be in a box, don't they? Like
taped up? No,
taped up with and she goes, no, just take this. And here's a QR code. Just take that to UPS and they'll take care of it. And literally on my entire drive to the UPS store on the way to the airport, I'm thinking she's going to be laughing her tail off, as she visualizes me walking into the UPS store. And I walked into the UPS store, products in hand, thinking that somebody's going to, redirect me to, you got to buy this box and here's some tape and here's how you do it.
Right. Yeah.
And the lady, nice young lady behind the counter says, you have an Amazon return? And I said, I do. And she says, bring it here. So I drop this miscellaneous stuff off on her counter. And she said, do you have your QR code? I do. And pull it out of my pocket. And she said, do you need a receipt? No. And she said, okay, thank you. We'll take it from here.
Wow.
Now, across the street across the parking lot from the UPS store is a McDonald's. And I love their coffee. So I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. It's a Monday morning, get my cup of coffee. I walk in, since I'm just walking across the parking lot, head back to my car, get in my car. And because my email is connected to my family's Amazon account, I get a notification that the items that I just dropped off have already been returned and my money's been refunded. They've made it so easy to engage that customers don't even think about what they're going to do next. What they're going to do next is go right back on Amazon and do it again and again and again. And again, remember that the architecture of Amazon is people, and it is brick and mortar. They just figured out the desired engagement pathways before and after the sale that keeps their customer coming back again and again. And this is our challenge for our industry when we treat sales and service like two separate companies under one roof, and the experience with the dealer abruptly ends with the sale of the car, and then somebody picks up the pieces somewhere thereafter. The problem is if we're waiting for the first service moment to re-engage our customers after the point of sale, it's too late. Mass defection has already occurred. Or if we're trying to connect with a customer prematurely, and what do I mean by that? When a customer is buying a car, it's not the right time, with all due respect, because this has been a best practice for a long time, it's not the right time to introduce them to the service department. They're buying the car. But dealers do this because we feel like if we don't get them right now during the sale, we're never going to get them. So you better cram it into the sales process. And customers are saying, why is it not the right time, Ted? Customers are saying the sales process is too long already. We don't need one more thing to do, right? Let's make the car buying experience great, but then let's connect the disconnected parts of the ownership journey and stay connected with our customer and incentivize them through the ease of use of accessibility to our dealership throughout that ownership experience, including the gap between sales and service. And there's so many pieces of the experience that shouldn't abruptly end, like F&I. It's ridiculous to me that F&I is a critical financial cornerstone to every dealer's financial success, but we leave that to the car sales process alone. We show customers, here's all these products for the first time. You need to make a decision right now or never thereafter. And that's a shame because there's so much more value in F&I than just trying to get it in that one-time moment. But the problem with the current architecture, the current process, is the only process that legitimately exists is the ability to sell it in that micro moment. And that, to me, is not okay. We should be doing all the great things we're doing right now, but the thing we shouldn't be doing is step one, throw the kitchen sink at customer acquisition, and step two, deploy customer abandonment. That shouldn't be the workflow. We have to lead people. If we're going to take the brick and mortar industry and propel it past the limitations of the 100% online retailers, then we have to create an organic pathway that leads customers to the value of fixed ops beyond the one-time sale. And we can't just wait for the customer return, or we can't use phone solicitations or junk email or random text messages as a way to communicate in 2023 and beyond. It's disconnected from reality on the way people want to engage. So
the way they want, right?
I embrace our great dealers and their support community. There's a lot of people, F&I, the reason why we focus on F&I is because it's not the least important thing. It's one of the most important things. And we should extend F&I revenue and all the relationship value beyond the one-time transaction. And we should help dealers deploy a why return here campaign beyond just a why buy here campaign. And that is, I think, the mission. I think everybody desires it. It's not intent. It's leadership and process that creates the limitations to what currently exists. And that's what we do. And I'm very, very proud of it. We've grown significantly in part, Ted, thank you. My relationship with you and the exposure on here has helped create a lot of momentum for us. And there's a lot of other people that I'm very proud to say are partners and friends and colleagues today because they share the same mission, which is earning the lifetime relationship with customers beyond the one-time transaction.
Steve, let's take a look. You've prepared an overview. Let's have our audience take a look at exactly what we do.